Hi, thank you all for coming to watch my master's project presentation. If we can just start by going around the room and introducing yourself. Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Simonson and I'm a clinician here at CLM.
Hi, I'm Jessica Turgeon. I'm also a clinician here at CLM.
Hi, I'm Michael Ralph, and I'm a children's worker here at CLM.
I'm Stephanie Seetsier and also a children's worker here at CLM.
Hi, I'm Melissa Elliott and I'm a children's community support counselor here at CLM.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Cuthbert. I'm a team leader for the children's FSS team at CLM.
Thank you very much. And if you look at your handout that I've given you on parenting style characteristics, that will kind of be a guide as we go through. A lot of the parenting styles can get tricky to remember which one we're going to be talking about. So those are the characteristics kind of outlined for you. Authoritarian and authoritative, the words are so similar. So as we're going through the PowerPoint, you can kind of look back and make note of those. I also have a copy here of my completed paper, if anybody does want to read it too. It's there. Okay. So I decided to do my master's project on the effects of parenting style in adolescent development. Working with children and families, I've noticed that there's a trend between different parenting styles and how it does affect children's development and based on their diagnosis as well. So as we go through, we will be looking at parenting style, we'll be looking at self-esteem, we'll be looking at the different effects that it can have on self-esteem as far as eating disorders and later on in life, the long-term effects that it will have. So the first one that we'll go through and explain is the authoritarian parenting style. This is when the children is given the rules and expected to follow them with no questions that are asked. The child does not have a say in any of the rules. It's most likely military style. And the parents are often placing the high demands on the child and they don't really have any say what the rules are going to be. There's a lot of expectations and a lot of non-responsiveness. The children are expected to be obedient without any questions. And the rules are often reinforced via punishment. It's more of the hierarchy is the parents, they're the ones that are parenting, and all the rules and expectations come down on the children and they don't really get a say in what's going on. The next style is the permissive parenting style. And these parents have few requests and demands for the child. They're relatively low, if any, expectations of the child. These parents often avoid conflict and confrontation with their child, and they often give in to them. So they're the parents that can be asked the question, if the child says, please, 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 a couple times they're going to be the ones to give in. Right? Most permissive parents identify themselves as more of a friend versus a parent, so they have a really hard time clarifying what their role is. They want to be a friend and not parenting. The next style is the uninvolved parenting style. These parents have few demands upon their child, similar to permissive style. There is little to no responsiveness to the child from the parents. They engage in little to no communication with their child. Most likely, on a normal basis, the needs are met of the child. There is some cases that the basic needs are not met, but it doesn't go to that next step. There's really no relationship that's formed. They're often detached from their child's life. And again, these parents may reject or neglect their child. And the last one that we will look at is the authoritative parenting style. This is the most democratic of all the parenting styles. It offers a great balance between parents that are uninvolved or permissive and also that are authoritarian. There's rules and guidelines that are created with the child involved. Parents are responsive to the child's needs, and they're often willing to listen to the child's input. So this is kind of, if you picture making like a house rules chart with them, the whole family is involved, and they're able to establish the guidelines and establish the boundaries together as a team. They tend to be more forgiving and less punishing with the child. These parents are assertive without being intrusive. So they're there to set the rules, and they're there to reinforce the rules and set the boundaries, but they're not, they have a different role than just taking on the friend role with them. They teach the child to take responsibility for his or her actions while holding them accountable for and explaining to the child why the rules. So this is the parenting style that gives all of the explanation and tells the child why their rules are made. So as you'll see, as we go through, the authoritative parenting style is been shown to see the best results from the future. So we'll look at the effects of the authoritarian parenting style in a couple of studies. Dewar concluded that the longitudinal studies that within a longitudinal study that a child raised in an authoritarian household may display these following characteristics. So again, the authoritarian is the strictest parenting style. They're most likely to have aggressive behavior, difficulty making and maintaining friendships, social inadequacy, less self-reliant, low self-esteem, antisocial behaviors. So these are the children, again, that had no input into their rules, into what goes on in the house. They are told what to do in that military style and expected to comply, and if not, they are punished. And those were the longitudinal studies. Okay, and then we also looked at attachment. Eckerson explored Bowlby's attachment theory and tried to apply authoritarian parenting style to Bowlby's attachment theory. And the findings included children parented with authoritarian style are less likely to form secure attachments with their caregivers. And that resulted, again, in decreasing self-esteem, inability to form meaningful relationships in the future, high levels of sensitivity to rejection, increased pressure to give up to increased pressure to live up to high standards, difficulty to engage in tasks, increased pressure to live up to parental expectations, intolerance, and difficulty self-regulating. It's because they weren't able to form that attachment early on in life, because the parenting style was so strict, they weren't able to, this is the result of what ended up happening. It's very negative results. Which led us to the long-term effects of authoritarian parenting style. And Hernandez did a little bit more research on that. He discovered that this parenting style can lead to the child's taking less initiative, having little self-motivation, low self-esteem, inability to make decisions, socially withdrawn from social situations, socially isolated from groups and community settings. They usually were able to excel academically, which is definitely one positive that came out of that, because those demands were placed so highly on them to be able to get those good grades and have those high expectations. And comply with them. They were most likely to comply with norms and standards through the authority, so they were able to comply when it came to higher authority, because that's most likely what they were used to. There were some rare occasions when the child would rebel and just disregard authority altogether, but most likely they were rule followers.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
With this style, it says that they have a tendency to excel academically. What happens when they fail? How do they respond?
I don't know. I didn't find any exact research on that, but I would imagine that they would be very hard on themselves when they did fail. Are you talking like later on in life when the parents aren't
I'm just
as
thinking, like,
involved?
if they set these high standards for themselves, and if they were to fail in some way in school, how would that affect them?
Well, I think it
at
would
that time?
depend on the parents. You know, if it came back to the parents and they were still involved, if it was, you know, a high school student,